full can. Yeah. There we go.
That one's heavy.
What's going on, guys? So I got some things. I got a couple large things. We have a wheel changer and a wheel balancer. Two big old crates in the garage. This is actually one of the cheapest setups that I found that has these options on it. It's from Amazon. It was, at the time of me getting it, it was like $2,700 shipped to me. Took like a week for it to come from California to Ohio, which is pretty awesome, which is way earlier than what it forecasted. Let me give you a sneak peek here. I haven't opened these yet. This is what we're looking at. They got these nice little pictures to show you what you're getting. So before we get into it, this one costs a little more than some of the cheaper ones. You could get them for like $1,900. This is at the time of making this video. This has a assist arm on the side of it. And I have some experience working in a tire shop and working with machines very similar to this. That assist arm is definitely something I wanted for like low pro tires. If you've watched the channel, we know we have the SRT4. Those wheels right over there. You need that assist arm. They are very, very helpful for those tires and anything similar to those. Low and wide, you're gonna need the help with that. And this also has the air blast built into the table, which I've not, the machine I've used had that option, but I never really used it. But it was included, so. And then the balancer is a pretty standard deal. It's computer. I don't know a lot about it on the listing. Most of the details was about the tire changer, not the balancer. But from some research I did, it seemed like it's the real deal. It's just a little bit more low-tech compared to some of the high-dollar like shop ones. But it should do everything that I want to do. It can do static and dynamic balancing, which if you don't know what that is, we'll get into that later. So I want to get these cracked open and we'll jump into it here. Okay, so we got the tops knocked off of these. It's been a long day with getting these home off the trailer and everything. But I at least wanted to get the tops off these just to make sure that they weren't damaged. And, you know, I gotta at least take just a sneak peek and, you know, see what we got. So, let's see here. This is the balancer. There's where the wheel would go on. So it's in pieces, which is good because this thing is very heavy and awkward the way it sits in this crate. So if we could split this up and move it piece by piece to where we actually want it, that's ideal. So see, we even got a little air gauge. Right. Ooh, oh, and it's even digital. That's that high class right there. So right here's what half the weight probably is this metal table. It feels pretty solid, so I don't see any damage. The balancer is actually sideways on top of that when it came off the semi truck, so it was laying on its back, but everything seems fine. So okay, well, I'm gonna get myself some sleep and we're gonna jump at this again tomorrow. What does this sticker say over here? Please often oiling to the oil cup. If have water, release it! Exclamation point. What does that mean? Straight out of China. Okay, I think it gets better. You ready for this? So the pusher max is 0.8 MPa. Okay, no more pusher than that. Don't more than it. But ignore the consequences by yourself! Exclamation point. So if you're by yourself, you can
ignore it.
You can ignore the consequences because you're by yourself and nobody knows that you broke the rules.
What?
Okay guys, I didn't want to leave anything out, so I just got all the crate stuff off. It was a bit of a process just to get all that stuff off. Not too bad, but it's just a lot to do all at once. So I'm gonna take a look around here, and I'm just taking you guys with me. Here's our balancer all uncovered. We have a box of accessories there. I'm gonna have to dig into that. I got some storage pegs over here. Oh, it's actually bolted to this little skid. So I know that's the power switch. It's actually like a nice like weather protected one. That's kind of cool. Here's what the display looks like. I'll tear this crinkly stuff off once I get her in her final resting place, just to keep it protected. This whole thing is like literally everything. I think they just sprayed everything with like a thin coating of oil, like just that. I got it on my hand. Like I said, so I've done some research. There's a brand called Mayflower that's been selling for, I don't know, a few years now, and it was originally on eBay. I think you can get those on Amazon too. Those are the cheaper ones that I said that didn't have the extra options that we're going to get into. But I'm pretty sure it's one of those things that like the same company makes it, and different people just like put their name on it. So, and then it's kind of slightly tailored to each brand, but it's the same basic hardware. Like for instance, I know for measuring on this, they change up how the display works, but this is pretty much the same, I think, as the Mayflower setup. Like this. You see there's like a tape measure. Now on a legit tire machine, you would pull this forward, and this is how you measure the like backside of the rim, and the machine would like calculate that for you. But like this, you have to look at the measuring and then see what it is and then type it in. So it's just little stuff like that. It's not really that big of a deal, but doing little stuff like that, I think, is what made them be able to keep the cost so low on this stuff. And it's really not a big deal, you know, if you're not running a like tire shop to where you have to bust these out over and over again for personal use. I mean, I can deal with things like that. So moving on to this guy, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated here. So like I said, it's in pieces. So here's our main table, and then this is our arm with the duck head. It's all tied together. I still got to separate this. And you can see the bead breaker down there. That will have to go on. It'll be bolted right up. We'll just get rid of this. But that will be bolted in that area. And then that will hang over the table here. I'm not quite sure what's going on with these pedals. They're all... Why are they all kind of cocked to an angle like that? That's kind of weird. I feel like something is astray. Oh. Oh, okay, maybe that is supposed to be like that. It just goes side to side. That is really weird the way that... Okay, so it's more like a swivel than it is an up and down. So a little quirk so far, but not a big deal. Not completely sure what that one's gonna do. You can see the table rotates. This is gonna make the clamps go in and out. So this guy is for breaking the bead off. I have no idea what... Okay, those both move together. So I have no idea what those are yet. Here's our tire bar already in its little storage hole. So that's cool. They give you some basic stuff like that just to get started. Especially for the price. I mean, the fact that they give you, you know, anything it's insane. I don't know how they make this thing for that price. Compared to some of these units, they're selling for like 10 grand. So everything seems to be in order. I don't even know how to pronounce the name of that. I mean, it's definitely made in China, but everything seems to be the way it's supposed to be. So, all right. So I gotta tear into this some more. There's more to this story because where I'm putting this is actually kind of a construction in process. Okay, so we are throwing this in a shed that I have. We don't really have room in the garage for it, and this is the best option. It used to be a little workshop, so it has power going to it already, but I had to update some lighting and just get that stuff finished up. And then we had to haul the machines in there. Now, the balancer's not too bad. The tire machine's got some heft to her, though. So we had to throw some boards down to make sure the dolly didn't bury itself in the rocks, and then getting it hefted up the little ledge to get into the shed, and then we were ready to rock and roll after that. So until we get a better shop set up, this should work. Okay guys, the machines are in the shed now. So hopefully pretty close to their final resting places. So getting this stuff here is half the challenge. So everything on these is like, everything's heavy. So, but it worked out. We have the room. We got the balancer kind of just thrown in the corner there, and then this guy's going to be right here. And I can move that stuff if I have to, but we have room to use the arm and everything. So I have some stuff hooked up. Obviously, you can see I have this tower on, which was a little bit of a process itself just because it's heavy as well. And there's an air line that hooks up to this. This is actually an air tank itself. Speaking of that, I did find something out. I didn't see the air blast holes in these arms, and that's because that's not where the air blast is. Let me show you this. So I seen this hose kind of sticking out of the hole where that post goes. I thought it was like a wiring harness or something. This is the air blast. So it goes through this tube, and this actually hooks into the back of this, which I'm gonna have to slightly move this, but that goes into the back of there, and this is like the ballast or whatever for the blast. And then this little line here this is just like a relay. That's what triggers that. This is just your trigger, and then whoosh, all of the air would come out through there. This is cool because I've never seen this before. So if it works the way it's supposed to, this is really cool because it's kind of like the tanks. I don't know if you can see it. It looks just like that. That one's for filling tires, but it'd be just like that. And then it would have this piece on it and a valve, and you'd have to fill it up first, and then you let the air out all at once. And that's like a handheld air blaster. This being built right into the machine like that you could use it here or down on the floor or just whatever's most convenient. That's kind of cool. I had no idea that's what the air blast actually was. Most of them are just built into like the table. So, but I still have pieces sitting around, and I got stuff out here. I still got some cranking to do on this, so I'm gonna keep working and then we'll catch up. Okay guys, everything's out here. It is finally all assembled and ready to go. There was a lot to do on the tire machine especially. And then not to mention the shed we're doing this in. It already had power in it, but I had to redo some lights and stuff. This stuff showed up so much earlier than it was forecasted. I kind of had to do everything at once. So I spent like pretty much a day and a half nonstop cranking this out. But it's ready to go, and I'm ready to show you guys. So let's jump into it here. Okay, so we do have a temporary airline coming from the garage for right now. You guys seen this tower part. We have the swing arm, and you can see we just lucked out on our height for our tiny little shed setup here. Little air guns over there. Put new batteries in that. It's good to go. And then this part right here, there's a lot going on. This is our assist arm, which is one of the big reasons that I got this one that costed a little bit more than some of the other cheaper ones. So let me go back. We'll show you this stuff here, and we'll jump into that arm. So give this rotates, seems nice and smooth. You got your clamps. Moves just fine. So, and you can clamp on the inside, the outside of the rim. It did come with little protectors to put on these. They're like little plastic sleeves. I don't know if I'll be using those because I have a feeling that wheel's just going to slip with those on, but they did give them to me. So there's a few extra little like bag of accessories that came with this. The weird part is the bead breaker. So if you see this bolt here, like this isn't actually like attached to it. Let me move it. Okay, so you basically would pull this out, you'd roll your tire in, kind of get it in position, and then you'd stomp on it. So I don't know, it seems kind of weird. Maybe it won't be so bad like actually doing it, but because when you go to pull on it, you pull it all out of like alignment. So I don't know, we'll see. I got to get through a tire. I'm sure it can't be that bad. So that's probably the biggest quirk out of all this stuff, honestly. That's like, but that's the worst thing that I found so far. I think we're doing pretty good. So let's take a look at the assist. So, well, first off, you can tell with our space management here, it works out, because if I swing this over, now we have room to use the balancer, which we're going to get into. We have the assist arm. Like I said, this is what the main reason I wanted this machine over other ones. So there's a lot going on here. You have this piece, and this, you can actually swing this back out of the way, and this you could swing under a tire, and it would help you pick it back up if it somehow reseated itself down on the bead. Like, so swing that out of the way, and then this is what's going to help you put on those really stubborn, like low profile, wide. This guy swings around. There's different positions you can lock this in. All of this stuff is adjustable, but you get this all in position and make sure I'm hitting the right button here. Nope, see, I don't have my muscle memory yet. It would be this one. Spin it around, push this down, and you have the force of the air. It does all of the work for you. So it's like having 3 extra hands that are, you know, pneumatically powered. So I think that's about it for this. So let's jump into the balancer. There's one more thing I got to show you, and it's a little dangerous. So let me pull this back over, and then if you guys remember, this had the really weird like hose attachment bead blaster. Maybe other things have this, but this is the first one I've seen it. And make sure I don't accidentally hit the button, because this thing is a weapon. We messed with it a little bit, and you have to hold on to it because it really does dump that whole tank all at once. So nice. Why are you covering your ears right now? Full cam. Yeah.
Where did it go?
There's just dust and stuff flying everywhere. Okay, so now that I can't hear anything, we're gonna take a minute and then we're gonna jump into the balancer. Now that we're done with shenanigans, let's show everything that I know so far about the balancer. I think I got it mostly figured out. There was pretty much 0 assembly with this. I just had to figure out where I wanted it, make sure it was level, and then I bolted it to the floor so it doesn't shake around and like throw off measurements. Most of it is just figuring out what the buttons did, because as you guys could have guessed, the manual was pretty much useless. So let's go ahead and turn it on. You can't see it, but there's a power switch right over here. And there's some storage pegs that have little dies. I have a couple more pieces there, just so you can fit different rims and stuff on here. So this is what it looks like fired up. That's what it looks like at first. Okay, now when it starts up, it is on dynamic balance, exactly what you would do with this rim. So like a little clip-on weight on either side. And basically dynamic balances the wheel this way, and static only balances it up and down. So dynamic is better. It does everything. It's more fine-tuned. So, and do what?
I said no bounce.
No bounce, yeah, we don't want bounces. So I don't have any wheel weights, but we can kind of run through this real quick just to show you what it looks like. So, let's see, we take this guy, and I got 8.5 here. Just a measuring tape. Put that back. And that would be our first measurement. 8.5. And then our next measurement, now it came with this thing. This is where we get kind of low tech compared to like the high tech machines. So the first one it wants to know is just how wide the wheel is. So we just hook it in there, and it's 7.5. So we just change this. 7.5. And then the last thing it wants to know is how big of a rim is it. So we come. It's a 16-inch rim. So 16-inch. I think I can just hit the start button at this point, but if you hit the C, now it has all that stuff like saved on there. Put that back, and then we would just hit the start. Gives it a spin, and then it brings it to a stop too. So now there's nothing here, all we have is a rim, so unsurprisingly it's not asking for a lot of weight. I haven't tried calibrating this. I want to see how close it is right out of the box. This is believable though. It only wants 1/2 ounce on the outside, and that's it. So if you come a little closer here, we show when you spin the wheel. So it shows you, oh, I already passed it. So all of the bars are lit. I put a weight right there, right on the top. The other side is calling for 0. So that's pretty much the gist of how that works. You can play with this and you can put weights, like if you're doing stick-on weights and stuff. So that's pretty much all I have, because I don't have the weights. There's still a few little odds and ends I got to set up in here, but that's the gist of how all this works. Besides for just a lot of work to put it all together, I don't really have any complaints so far. I think it's a pretty solid setup. I think I really did get a decent deal. Nothing really standing out as, oh man, you know, I bought some junk for all this money. So everything seems good. I'm going to run through some tires. We have plenty of wheels between all the cars and everything that we do. If you guys watch the channel, you know that's everything we do is automotive based. So we have drag wheels. We're going to do some autocrossing. We will come back and I'll do more of like a review and a recap and just see what this stuff's like. So stay tuned for that. I think that's it though. So I'll see you guys in the next one.